Okay, so welcome back to my new video. This video, I'm going to teach you how you can set up your Python project. Okay, so I have my PyCharm IDE open, and we're going to create some files and some folders so that you can get started with a Python project. So I'm going to create a new file that I'm going to call, let's say Python file. I'm going to call it main. We're going to put in some code, hello Python setup. Okay. Yeah, that is all we have in that file. And we're going to create another one, which we're going to call setup.py. And this setup is going to contain all the packages for your project. If you want to package your project into binary so that you can ship it to PyPy. Okay, so basically this files setup.py has something like this. Okay, so this file had some imports, has some readme license requirements.txt, and then you call this function and pass in all these parameters. Okay, so basically that is how the setup.py file looks like. Okay, so let's create another file called readme.md, and this file contains all the documentations for your application. So I'm going to say pound. This is a Python project for financial analysis. Okay, and within this file, you can write some. You can write, let's say, usage, and then you can also put in how to install. Okay, so this file contains all your documentation, and okay, let me do another one and say pound installation. With this installation, you're going to say pip install and then path to your project. Okay, and then the usage, you tell people that, okay, just type Python and then -m, and then you pass in the project name. Okay, and okay, okay, that is the usage. Or you can also how to import. So you just put in import and then you pass in the project name. Okay. So basically, you can see on the right hand side the documentation. You can see there's two rectangles that you can use to copy this code to your clipboard. And maybe the last note I would do is probably make run, and then we pass in make run. That is coming from your make file, which I'm going to create very soon. Make length, and then make format. Okay, so basically, that is how you structure your documentation. So you can put in a lot of stuff if you want to. You describe the project, what the project does, and things like that. Okay, so, and the next file that I'm going to create is call it make file without any extension. Okay, and then this make file contains some basic commands that you run most of the time. Okay, so let's call it install tab, and then you can put it pip install upgrade pip, and then you say pip install -r requirements .txt file. Okay, so basically this command is if you want to install all the packages in your requirement.txt file, all you need to do from the terminal is to just type make install. And once you say make install, it's going to run this code for you. So basically that is the work of the make file. Okay. If I have another command here called let's say format, that is the name of the command I'll be looking at. And then I say black main.py, and that is going to format this main.py file for us. So all I will need to do is to say make format and then hit enter, and then it's going to run this command. Okay, so that is the idea. So it's just a shortcut to run whatever code is in your main.py. So as you can see, all done, one file formatted. Okay, so basically that is the use of the make file. Okay, so you can put a lot of stuff in the make file. So the next file we are going to look at is maybe you have a bash script that you want to execute. Most of the time you can call it bash.sh, and in this file you call the shebang bash, and then maybe you want to pull or list your AWS files, so you can say AWS S3ls. So that is just a basic shell script. So if I run this, you're going to see that it's going to list all the buckets in my S3. Okay, so basically that is the use of the sh or the bash file, okay, in your Python project. The next one we're going to look at is your requirements.txt file. And as part of your Python project, you end up using a lot of libraries and packages. So this file contains all your libraries. Probably you are using pandas, numpy, black, maybe seaborn. Yeah, these are some Python libraries you are using. So let's look at a few of them. Let's call it pip freeze, and then we redirect everything to requirement.txt. Okay, so as you can see, once I do that, it gives me all the libraries that I've installed on my computer with the versions. Okay, it comes with the versions. Okay, so you can see Seaborn and then the version that I'm using currently. So it's a whole lot of them. So this is what you do to your requirements.txt file. Okay. So the next file we are going to look at is Docker files. In your project, you might have some Docker stuff that you want to containerize. So you call this one Docker file without any extension. And then as you can see, the blue container is showing on the Docker file. I'm not going to put anything from, so you can say from, let's say Python base image you are looking at is Python 3.8. Okay, so this version is what we need in our Docker file or the base image for Python. This is what we are looking at. You can choose whatever version you want, but we are not going to write the entire file, Docker file, all the commands in this Docker file. So I'm just going to demo, let's say, I think it's CMD, and then it takes a list, Python, and then comma main.py. Okay, so basically this is the basic command that we are writing in our Docker file. But just as a demo, you can look more into it. So the next one we might look at is maybe you have a Docker compose file, Docker compose.yaml. Then whatever you want to put in there, you put it in there. I think the next one that we might look at is .gitignore .gitignore. So this is also a file that you might want to look at so that you can ignore certain things that you don't want to push to GitHub repository. So you put all the commands inside this file. The next thing we are looking at is the license with all caps. So you put all your license information in this file. And the next one we want to look at is, let's say, contributing. Those that are contributing to your project, you say contributing.md. You see, you put all those information in contributing.md. And you might also want to look at change logs, all in caps, change log.md. You see the colors keep changing. And the next one we might look at is, you might not need all these files, but just to let you know, if you are looking at any open source project, you know what it contains. Code of conduct for people who want to contribute to your project. You put all this information in this file. Okay, so code of conduct.md. So now I think we're done with all the files, the main files that we're looking at. And I think the next one is our package. So you create a package, and this package, we can call it coders. And once you do that, you see there's an init file created for you telling you that it's a Python package. Okay, so within this, you can create your your Python file, you can call it app.py. Okay, so within that, that is where you might put in your code, and let's say we just printing hello Python package. Okay, so that is all. Just as a demo, this is where all your code goes. And the next one we want to look at is assuming you have a directory that contains certain files. You can create a directory. So let's call it data. And this data directory, we can create some files. Let's say we have data.csv, or let's call it sales.csv. Okay. And then yeah, I think that is all for now. You just have one file in this data.csv or sales.csv, which contains some let's say age and name, and let's say you call it 34, and then the name is John Doe. Yeah, something like that. Just a CSV. Okay. Doesn't matter, just as a demo. Okay. The next file you might want to look at is your test directory. Okay, so as you are writing your code, you might need to test some of your functions and classes. So you create a test folder for this. See it in green. And this test will contain like files like test underscore app. You see, so you can create as many as you want test files. We can look at test. The name should start with test, and then we call it, let's say, basic. So you can have as many test files as you want in this folder. I think that is all for now. And probably you might also want to look at the git ignore, no, the GitHub workflow. So you can put in .github /workflows, and as you see in this file, you can put in your git ignore. You can put in your git ignore file, which we can call let's say main.yml. Okay, so that is your main.yml file that controls your GitHub workflows. I think that is all for now. Yeah, so let's see if we can go to, so this is your structure that you might want to look at once you are creating your Python project. So let's look for a typical Python project on GitHub and see how it's been structured. Okay, so I'm on let me see if I can see any project. Let me Google AWS S3 GitHub. Okay. Once I click on, let's say the second URL, we don't have much. Okay, so let me look at this one, the first one. Okay, so I don't think this is the official repository, but let's look at some few stuff. So this is written in R. Okay, so let me check for the Python. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so I think this is the Boto 3 official, and it has 7.5K stars. So I think is the okay. So it's written in Python. So as you can see, they have the setup.py, setup.configuration information goes in there. You see the requirement files. You see the README. You have notice, license, code of conduct, change log, git ignore, the test. You have other folders that has their script, and then you see the GitHub workflow goes in here. If we click on it, you see the workflows, and then they have a series of YAML files in there. Okay, so basically, and you see the readme.rst or MD, you can call it. It has all the documentation for the project. Okay, so you can see getting started, how you can create it. So yeah, basically, this is how you structure your Python project. So I'm going to leave it here. If you have any question, don't forget to comment in the comment section below, and don't forget to also subscribe and share the video. I'll see you in the next one.